Oh, do you not want to?
No,
No, okay.
I don't care. Whatever.
Okay, then yes, we are.
Sweet.
But no one knows we're here.
Correct.
See who some random.
Yeah, exactly. You might run into someone new.
Randos who find us.
Make a new fan
on YouTube.
Okay.
Lordy, lordy, lordy.
And we are live to YouTube. And I will start the commercial.
Support for Wrong About Everything comes from Minnesota's credit unions. Credit unions are locally based, member-owned financial cooperatives that return earnings to members through higher savings rates, lower loan rates, and reduced fees. Visit mncun.org for more information.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Wrong About Everything podcast. I am Republican strategist and Twin City Sugar, Brian McDaniel.
I am Democratic strategist and the Puerto Rican heat, Javier Murillo.
I am Minneapolis cultural correspondent, Allison Nessie.
I am remote from Scott County, conservative Mike Franklin.
And we are Wrong About Everything.
Wrong About Everything.
It's been so long since I've been on the show, I almost forgot how we started.
Yeah.
Sorry, listeners or watchers.
Allison and I kind of took the show over last time, and based on fan mail, it was well received.
Good.
What fan mail?
I've never gotten more postcards in my life.
This guy, Ox Brown, let me know that it was an awesome show.
No, yeah.
Yeah. Well, everybody, welcome to the Minnesota Credit Union Network studios, deep within the recesses of MBC Studios here in Northeast Minneapolis. We have the lovely and talented producer Gabe Noah in the other room, pushing all the buttons, making sure that you can see us and hear us. And we thank you all for being here. We apologize a little bit. We've had some erratic schedules. The Minnesota legislature is very much making certain days hard. We're going to try to do it on Fridays here going forward. We're trying to nail down an exact time. So we a little bit apologize for just being all over the place, but we will figure that out, and we appreciate your dedication to being a listener. With that, let's pay some bills, everybody.
Yes. So first, we're going to pay with the Minnesota Licensed Beverage Association. Since 1952, the Minnesota Licensed Beverage Association has been helping licensed beverage retailers in the state of Minnesota with information, resources, educational programs, and government affairs services designed to promote and protect their business. All our member retailers understand that with the MLBA, you are not alone.
Michael?
Very good. My screen went away, but I'm going to find it.
I got it. Bradshaw and Bryant, their entire team of attorneys and staff is dedicated to providing the legal advice you need, combined with the service and personal attention you deserve. If you have questions about how they can assist you with a personal injury, wrongful death, or criminal defense matter, do not hesitate to contact them. Consultations are free. You can contact them at 800-770-7008 or find them at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
What Javier said.
Good job, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, way to kind of pick up the slack. Mike, thanks for the slack.
The slack is and we've made it farther in the show this episode than the last time when my internet had already cut out. I'm told it's because my wife was downloading a book. And that's just the kind of internet service we get here in Jordan.
So I was going to say, where is Scott County and why does it not have internet?
Yeah.
It's like Little House on the Prairie outside.
Okay, well, good luck with dysentery.
I hear we put maple syrup in the snow to make a nice sweet treat.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's where the kids are right now.
That snow is melting and yellow right now. So,
well, actually, we know that the city of Jordan has a very, very, very nice ice cream shop because we have been there and we have eaten ice cream.
They do. Yes, they do.
At least some of us have.
The maple was provided by the Franklin children.
All right then.
All right.
Let's
this is great chit chat.
Let's move on. Yeah.
I was like, we have important things to discuss.
We do.
And also this story.
So, the tarantula tosser Lost in court.
Okay, there's lots of news that happened this week that I thought had already happened. I thought she had already lost this. How did she lose it again?
Well,
no, Javier, she lost her race twice.
Yeah,
that's what you were thinking of.
Yeah, she lost the race, but this was actually her like in court being told that
she's not allowed to throw tarantulas.
She's not allowed to throw tarantulas. So if you recall, Marissa Simonetti, who we've talked about on this show, it was a Republican U.S. Senate candidate. And
when did she run? Remind me.
Was this
was it the current open seat?
She's running for the current open seat. She was a former county commissioner candidate.
Oh, that's what it was at the time. She was county commissioner at the time.
Yeah. So. Yep. When Chris Latondras exited the seat, it became open, and now Heather Edelson is in that seat. But she had some competition, and it was I believe it was Miss Simonetti's first attempt at public office, and that's. She's been gifting us with stories ever since.
So she
is currently a candidate for the U.S. Senate.
She's currently a candidate for the U.S. Senate. And if you recall, she's accused of throwing a live tarantula onto a staircase leading to where her tenant was staying. And now she has been convicted. This happened in 2024, but she has been convicted now officially, and she's been found guilty of 1 count each of domestic assault, harassment, and disorderly conduct, all misdemeanors. And this was something that was also odd because another person who was there witnessing it is somebody who worked at the Capitol. I don't know if Mike ever worked with him, but he was a House Republican staff when I was staff there.
Oh, I know, yeah.
And it went. Everything went sideways. According to the complaint, an individual was renting out the basement of Simonetti's Edina, Minnesota home through Airbnb, and they reported to police that everything had been fine until she requested that pest control be hired due to a lot of large spiders in the basement. And what that led to was an altercation.
Now, the original spiders were not tarantulas.
They were not. Those are not indigenous to the state of Minnesota.
I did not think so.
As best I know. I am not a arachnologist.
If you don't mind me breaking in as the house expert on Marissa Simonetti, she was in the studio and she told me the story from her mouth. And normally when someone tells you a story about something they're accused of, they can spin it to make themselves not sound guilty, you know?
Yeah.
And hers, I said, oh, so you're guilty. Like it was just couldn't be more clear cut.
Just the facts, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So, this was a Home Alone.
I can't conceive of having a candidate for the U.S. Senate be credibly accused of criminal charges.
She's not even the worst. She's not even the worst one we have.
I was going to say she doesn't even rank with the Epstein shit. She wouldn't even get in the files.
I forgot.
Wait, who's the other one?
Well, we're saying Royce White.
Royce White. Yeah.
Royce White.
Yeah. He's going to be your nominee, isn't he?
Well, maybe before, but now that Marissa is in the running here, she may have just pulled it. Look, does Royce want spiders thrown at him or not? Probably not. So I'm going to go.
Probably. I find it hard to believe that the two of them aren't acquaintances in some way. I'm sure they have crossed paths at some point. Yeah. So anyway, we're awaiting sentencing. These are I believe they're. I just had it up here. They're misdemeanors, I believe. Where is it here?
If I was a drag queen, my name would be Misdemeanor.
Misdemeanor.
I think that name is taken.
I'm sure there are many drag performers and what's the roller skating sport?
The roller skating sport?
Roller derby. I'm sure that there are many misdemeanors that are in that sport as well, as they take on nom de guerres from time to time. But anyway, so we're waiting to see about the sentencing here. But because she is now a candidate for U.S. Senate, it was a little bit of a segue into Michelle Tafoya, another Republican who is hoping to run for or is planning on running for the U.S. Senate. And at first blush, she would be the person who it kind of has the most name recognition, the most money, the most logical chance to be the nominee and potentially win. But she's stepping in it now as well. And Javier, this was something that you brought to our attention.
Yeah, she this week. So she supports the Iran war, which is already a bold choice. She said when it came to rising gas prices that people should maybe just take one less trip to Starbucks and try to be patriots about this, which points for I don't know what, but I wanted to ask you guys because I've heard that she's not really competing in conventions. That like, and that the others are we're going to block her. Like it seems like with gas being one thing, but like, is she gonna is someone else gonna get endorsed in the process and like make this a big bloody battle?
Well, in my area, because I did actually go to precinct caucuses and the subsequent conventions, because evidently I hate myself, so I did do that. In our area, she did fine. There was not really anyone else that was kind of up to her. I mean, I'm not seeing this as big of a internal problem as maybe an external problem. It's certainly tone deaf. I don't know Michelle Tafoya. I have never met her. I've never spoken to her. I actually weirdly grew up with her husband. We played baseball together. But I don't know her as a person, so I can't necessarily say whether vouch for her character and all that. But I mean, in this world that we live in, where so many people are willing to say so many dumb things, so many things that are tone deaf. This is tone deaf, but I almost don't even think it really charts compared to some of the other just horrible, dumb stuff that is floating out there. So I'm a little surprised that this has gotten as much play as it has. And there are Republicans. Michael Broadcorb is on just a mission to make sure that Michelle Tafoya is not the nominee. So there are certainly people that are lining up to criticize her on the Republican side too. But this to me, and I mean maybe I'm just missing something here, but this just reminded me of when Jimmy Carter during the energy crisis told everyone that they should wear a sweater. I mean, it just
sure. Yeah, that didn't go over very well.
It didn't.
And how'd that work out for him?
Yeah, or
how that worked out for him? He became one of our greatest ex-presidents, is what he became. Yeah.
Our greatest living ex-president until he was no longer living. He held that title for quite a long time.
I mean, I think this is the thing that as gas prices are rising and there's no, and we're going to talk about this in terms of the war, that there's no clear end in sight to like the problems that are causing the prices to rise, because they now started bombing oil reserves, not just Iran's, but then Iran is retaliating and attacking Qatar's, and so the prices are going to continue to go up. So as these prices go up, this quote will be returned to over and over again, as to show someone who's out of touch with like how people are dealing with rising costs. So I think it puts affordability at the center of the campaign, and not in a good way for Tafoya.
It's very let them eat cake, like literally local Edina woman who spent 20 years on and as an NFL correspondent suggests going to Starbucks less. Like
I think it's the opposite of what you're saying. It's saying you guys shouldn't eat so much cake.
I think it's very maha of her to get to the point where we're cutting that Starbucks sugar out of our diet. So I, for one, support her.
It's an RFK
I feel bad
position.
for Starbucks. No one who shouldn't be brought into this.
People shouldn't be drinking Starbucks anyway. They should be drinking Caribou. That's a Minnesota company.
Well, that was the other thing, that if Michelle Tafoya, who only lives part-time in Minnesota, if she wanted to give a Minnesota example, Caribou would have been the one to say. But, coastal elite She went with Starbucks.
No. Minnesota girl. She didn't want to tell people to not go to Caribou, so she told them not to go to Starbucks. This. I don't see the problem.
Who are her friends who are going to Starbucks and not to Caribou?
Well,
I don't know.
To be perfectly honest, to show further support for Israel, she should have said Einstein Brothers.
That was terrible. Jesus Christ.
All I know is there's no credible evidence of Ms. DeFoya having been charged with a misdemeanor or throwing a tarantula in a way that would not rise to the level of a crime. So I'm not sure how viable she is for endorsement.
And as far as we know, I don't know that she has child support that she's not paying, nor has she been going to strip clubs. So I still think that she's our front runner. But
paying for strip clubs with her campaign cash. That was the Royce White thing.
Yeah, no, he's awesome.
Jeff, he is fueling the economy. You
guys realize that if someone clipped our show and put it on Twitter, you guys would be dead, the two of you, because he hates other Republicans. Royce White. He especially hates the establishment Republicans.
I put our show on Twitter. I just did.
No, but I mean specifically these clips talking about Royce White.
Well, here in this, I'm going to give everyone a little bit of a window into to the hole inside of me that needs constant attention. I tried going after Royce White for a while, and he just never responded. And I just figured I just wasn't a big enough deal.
Oh wow!
He saves all of his hatred for Pat Garofalo, women, and then Pat Garofalo.
Try it again now that you're skinny.
Oh yeah, so yeah, there's that.
We'll let him know about your Emmy, and then maybe he'll be on the radar screen.
Radar, yeah. I don't know. Well, anyway, I mean, like I said, I don't know that this seems like a fatal gaffe for her, but also I think maybe if there were stronger competition, it would make a bigger deal. With Republicans, I think Javier is right. This, assuming that kind of our current state of the economy and gas prices is still in play, come November, this is something that will continue to be brought up by Lieutenant Governor Flanagan or Congresswoman Craig or whoever kind of emerges from the Democrat side.
Yeah.
Before we move on to the next thing, if I can just ask, from to the Democrats, I've been kind of just this week getting. I live in the 2nd Congressional District. Mike, do you as well? Okay, so yeah, it goes over that far. So
this is an audio medium, Mike.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to stay on mute so I don't mess it up. But yes, I live in CD2.
Okay, good deal. Well, anyway, so I've been on the Democrat side. I've been getting a little bit more information this week about Senator Klein and Matt Little and Representative Berg. What's kind of the word on the street with the Democrats on where things are for endorsement in CD2? Are you guys hearing much?
You want to go,
yeah,
Javier?
Yes.
I don't have a ton to say.
Yeah, I have not. That race has seemed surprisingly under the radar to me.
Mm-hmm.
I recently was someone a friend from out of state, was attending a labor fundraiser for Representative Berg, and that was the first I heard that there's enough excitement to have a fundraiser outside of state even. So I've not heard much either way. So yeah, what is your sense from being in district?
Well, it had been my feeling this whole time that it was kind of Senator Klein's to lose, and I still maybe feel that way, but I'm just getting more and more of a feeling that it's going to be Representative Berg certainly that gets the endorsement, but I have family members who are very much in the Matt, not my wife, but other people very much in the.
Who's Jenny with? Berg.
I don't know that she's picked a candidate yet, but other people in the family very much have gone to the local DFL activities and kind of have come away with Matt Little as their candidate. Now Matt Little's
had a conversation with a CD2 Democrat within the last week and heard that same scuttlebutt that don't sleep on Matt Little, that he will not be outworked and he is really overperforming in the endorsing conventions.
That's my
he took my endorsement, or he took as my endorsement when I said I like Matt Little because he annoys everyone. And he clipped that and said, I'll take it.
He's been killing it on social media. I will say his TikToks are creative and getting airtime. But I think, Representative Berg does have very deep relations in the labor union world nationally, both in her own. She's a leadership in the flight attendants union, and so she's been a strong leader on the labor committee in the House for many years, and so I can see that helping her. But yes, no, Matt Little is everywhere, and Senator Klein has not only is he a senator and we're in session, he's also a emergency room physician as well too.
I mean, if I were as a Republican, I feel like Matt Klein is the person I wouldn't want to face in the general election, just because I think he
his profile.
I think he just profiles well there. Matt Little, former mayor of my town, Lakeville,
and state senator.
He was a state senator for a brief time, but he just ran for Dakota County attorney and didn't win. So maybe I'm just placing too much emphasis on that he didn't win that race. But Kayla Berg came in late, and I think that she has just done a really good job as far as ginning up support with delegates, and I think she is going to get endorsed.
Yeah, and there's a real hunger for a woman candidate as well. And I know Emily's List did a lot of work to recruit a pro-choice woman.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on that because that's really the only going to be the only competitive congressional race of note. But and then so I did I did add issue earlier today, and one of the things that we were talking about was the SAVE Act, and so I think that this is something where people who are paying attention to voting rights, this is a super, super, super big deal. And but I also think that people who are only kind of paying attention to it don't understand the difference between the SAVE Act and voter ID, which are two very different things. And I think I even fell into that until I did a little bit more research. And so the SAVE Act is something that is gonna, if you're not paying attention to it, pay attention to it, because it is something that I think is addressing problems that people care about, but I also think that there are lots and lots and lots of unintended unintended consequences that are going to come out of this if it progresses just as it is. I mean, we all know, I get married all the time, so I know how difficult it is if you're a woman to change your name and change your name back, and so I think that there are definitely I don't think it's hyperbole when people talk about that for some members of our population, the SAVE Act will actually cause a lot of trouble. But I think some people who are defending it are saying, well, why shouldn't you have to use an ID to vote? Well, these are different arguments for sure, and I'm happy to have either of them. But I do think that I wanted to give an opportunity on this show for Javier. I'm sure you're very well versed on this, to talk a little bit about what do you think is going on with the SAVE Act, and then I want to tie it back to some stuff going on in SB 38.
Like you said, has unintended consequences for certain voting populations. I'd say those are intended consequences, and the voting population is literally women. It requires proof of citizenship, and that might sound common sense to people, but think right now, do you have proof of citizenship for yourself in your house? You might like my birth certificate says I was born in the Canal Zone of Panama, so just like John McCain, so it should not be an issue. But also,
was it the same year?
What's that?
Same year as McCain? Different year. I'm sorry.
I think Mike's Zoom is bad.
Yeah.
Can we cut him off?
Cut him off, yeah.
Wow, Mike. Yeah, and so like, and then for women who changed their names, right? Like your birth certificate is not going to have the same name, so you're going to have to then show legal proof that of the name change. Like it's going to be incredibly burdensome just to get people like registered to vote. It also would be a complete overhaul of the election right before, like when we're just months away from it. It is an appalling piece of legislation, and it is pushed as Donald Trump has said. He pushed it because if we push this, like then Republicans won't have to worry about elections ever again. That's the whole point, is to rig the system against Democrats. Yeah, there we are.
Well, and obviously, I don't think it's wrong to have to prove who you are and where you live, and the SAVE Act, I think, is just. If that's the goal, they're going far beyond that, and I think that is something that's going to need to be addressed. But kind of
what's interesting is that the thing at issue in the Senate is the filibuster. Is Republican senators who don't want to get rid of the filibuster to do it, is that's the only way to get it done.
Correct. They cannot get the 6 Democratic votes that they need for the 60 vote threshold. But Majority Leader Thune did not seem at all interested in giving up the filibuster for this. He does not have the votes for that.
I thought one of the issues at play with getting the SAVE Act voted upon had a lot to do with the Texas primary between Cornyn and Paxton. At least that was one element that I was reading about this past week, that the fact that we had a vote on it had a lot to do with bolstering Senator Cornyn's chances in the upcoming Texas primary.
Because Paxton said he would drop out of the race if they got rid of the filibuster in order to pass the SAVE Act. Yeah. So they're going to get a vote. There's a vote in the next couple of days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the last polling I saw, I think, had Paxton beating Cornyn. Is that right, Mike?
I understand it's going to be very close, and that would not surprise me at all. And actually, I was in Texas last week for a conference, and there's a ton of enthusiasm among Republicans for Paxton.
Why is that?
Yeah.
The spiders. He was throwing spiders.
He was throwing spiders.
He's your spider thrower candidate. I mean, he has such a trail of
horror of harassment, of illegal stuff. He got impeached by Republicans.
Yeah. Right up
You're
our
asking
alley.
The wrong guy. It didn't make any sense to me either, but I think there's a frustration with the establishment.
Don't threaten us with a good time.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, Allison, you go.
Oh, I was going to pivot of the SAVE Act is holding up a vote on a piece of federal legislation that I personally really care about, which is the 21st Century and Road to Housing Act that has come together in a bipartisan way between the House and the Senate. And Trump, said he was going to sign it, but now he's saying, I won't sign it unless you pass the SAVE Act.
Has any legislation gotten signed this year? Has any legislation been signed in this session?
You mean the big beautiful bill did not? Rise
the big beautiful bill got passed, and Lake and Riley early on, but those two,
they're pacing themselves.
Yeah.
I believe when I was in DC last year, they said they were going to do a bunch of stuff in the first year, and then in 2026 just kind of play it calm until the midterms, because hopefully everyone forgets about the awful things that are included in the big beautiful bill.
Well, and I think that might have been a strategy that could have worked reasonably fine, just because of how people just pay attention to something and then move on to something else. I think that Operation Metro Surge and that stuff has really overshadowed all of that other stuff, and I don't think that anything that they're doing with the SAVE Act or anything in that area, Iran or anything, is making people forget about all of those things, and the I'm sure there are people that are listening to the show that think that everything that happened there was just fine and dandy, but that is certainly not something that I think Republicans are chalking up as something that is going to help them in any way, shape, or form electorally. Certainly not in Minnesota. So there kind of needs to be a palate cleanser there, and nothing with the SAVE Act or Iran or anything like that is going to be that. But what made me kind of start looking at this again with a little bit more intensity was just one of those weird things you run across on Facebook, where in Senate District 38 in Minnesota, Senator Susan Paugh was commenting that in their district that there were very troubling incidents, including the recruitment of individuals from outside the district to participate as delegates, and instances where candidates and campaign organizers instructed people to list addresses where they do not live in order to qualify as delegates. And I appreciate that they are identifying this. They are saying it out loud. They are trying to address it and make sure that people who are voting in their primary, in their endorsement process, actually do live there and are appropriate, and that there are people there who are trying to circumvent proper voting procedure. But it did seem to kind of then call out for a little bit, like, so what you're saying is people should have to prove where they live, and Representative Jim Nash and other Republicans highlighted this as well, and I thought that was certainly something that was a little bit of a pivot from the Democrats, maybe not linking those two things, but it also reminded me, and I wanted to bring this up because Javier and I are on the show together for the first time in a long time, about just how we would have voter ID in the state of Minnesota, but for Javier Murillo.
And not me. Not me exactly.
I give you a lot of credit for that, because the Vote No Twice, maybe we want to talk about this a little bit, but the Vote No Twice campaign back in, was it 2012?
2012.
I think took a 70 to 80% issue and flipped it on its head. And while it certainly wasn't the way that I would have wanted it to go, I was impressed by the campaign organizing that it took to make that happen back then, when it was very much linked with the marriage equality.
Except
amendment.
we actually defeated the voter ID amendment by a larger margin and across the state, because it was just a very poorly thought out amendment that would have really impacted rural voting, and so we had like across greater Minnesota, people voted against it. That is, Minnesotans already rejected this, because we have a system that works fine. As far as like these the party conventions, like there are so many reasons to get rid of those.
Oh, yes, we are anti-caucus on this podcast.
Yeah, no, we're anti-caucus on this podcast for sure.
I do want to clarify, though, that the way a party runs its endorsing isn't the same as a publicly run election.
No, it's not.
So conflate it, a lot of people don't realize that, though. They do think, how can you vote if yes, you're voting, and there are ways to challenge, but you're a part of a party process, this is not like a public election for office. It's a party endorsement. And there are guardrails to challenge residents of delegates or potential delegates, and it happens all the time. But we should do away with them. I agree.
We should. I think that this is a little bit more public than you normally see on the local, and it also seems to be more widespread now down in my area. This is years ago. There in the city of Coates, there was a strip club called Jake's that had run afoul of the.
I remember that place.
Yeah, they had run afoul of like the city.
I drove by it, Mike.
The city council, and what they did is they signed up a bunch of voters and then had their address be the actual strip club, so they were found out. So these things happen, but I just think that it is important to know that we must remain eternally vigilant, because we have a good system. We have. I was with actually Secretary Steve Simon earlier today. We have a good system, but as it's wrong to say we don't have a good system, and it's also wrong to say we have a perfect system. And we really do have to kind of keep an eye on people, because there's always going to be somebody who's going to try to game it. And the second that we stop paying attention to it, we're going to have people that that are signing people up and inappropriately, and there we go. But anyway, look into it. We'll keep talking about it on the program as well. But moving on to national.
Hey,
so yeah,
let me ask you guys about this, the Republicans, because there's talk in national circles about the MAGA coalition being split on the question of Iran, and I'm wondering how, like in Republican circles in Minnesota, how this is playing out, because it's the war is generally unpopular with the population at large, but less unpopular with Republicans generally. But like, is there that same split between the sort of America Firsters and the sort of neocon?
There's nothing. I'll take that because I've been interested in that myself. There's nothing objective that there's a lot of subjective evidence to that. Whereas specifically Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, the sort of so far right, they're left coalition that in
oh no, we don't want them.
Cases, well, I think you've got them.
No,
because
no,
at
we
this
don't.
Point, they're sort of indistinguishable.
They're just crazy.
But, so there's a like agreed, but there's every poll. I just have one up from Politico. There was a poll, I believe it was a CNN poll earlier this week that showed, and I've never seen this in a poll before, 100% of self-identified MAGA respondents support Trump and the war, and so that can't be true because we just named three, but maybe they're not in MAGA anymore.
Yeah.
But the Politico poll shows 81% of self-identified MAGA and 61% of non-MAGA Republicans also support the war in Iran. And so I think this is one of those examples where there's a lot of Sturm and Drang coming from very loud quarters, but it's not representative of very much on the ground.
Yeah, I'm not hearing a ton on the Republican side, like in my circles, and I'm conflicted because I have no idea what like the real nuclear threat is there. I mean, what you hear out of Iran, their deputy speaker of their parliament said we tried to develop nuclear weapons, but we just couldn't keep it a secret. So am I willing to say that I think Iran is an evil empire? Yes. Do I think that they're a problem? Yes. Do I think that they're a danger? Yes. Have I been very vocal about strong support for Israel? Yes. Do I think that Iran would do, if they had the opportunity, would wipe Israel off the face of the earth? I think they do. Do I think that Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, certainly if they're not anti-Semitic, they're pretty freaking close, and they have a problem with this? So I have a problem with that. So I want to be supportive of the goal of neutralizing Iran, so that they cannot harm Israel or us. Iran now is saying that they're going to start targeting tourist destinations. They murder their own people in the tens of thousands. They just hung a 19-year-old wrestler who dared to speak out. So in that way, I'm not going to just stand up and say, well, this is another thing that Trump's doing that is 100% a bad thing. However, I also look to what our allies think and what they're doing, and so I'm not going to say that I am against the military action here, but I am keeping a very, very, very close eye on it. I am absolutely not taking anything that I see or hear at face value, and I reserve the right to change my mind at any point in time. If there's evidence that speaks to me that this is some sort of wag the dog type situation where they're just trying to distract us from other stuff.
I have found it very interesting, that Tucker, Candace Owens have come out. Just seeing myself twice. Have come out in opposition, but they're kind of towing the line that President Donald Trump ran on, which was the president of peace and being an isolationist and America first. But if you listen to some of the right-wing pundits that are of a large YouTube presence, you can see the way in which they are kind of twisting this action to gain support from MAGA Republicans. Like, yes, we know he ran on this, but this is really about Yeah. And if you like I have found a connection of like anti-actions against China are very valid to the MAGA crowd. So twisting the Iran conflict is really a way towards kind of global reshifting of power structures. That is where the YouTube pundits are going on the right, and those are like have the largest audiences.
You must spend more time on right-wing YouTube than I do. I'm not dismissing any of that, and I think that this, to me, just sort of signifies that we've spent now 10 years not really having a good definition for MAGA or Trumpism, period. And so I think what you're seeing is a pretty conventional coalition of Republicans very much aligned with, I don't know if they would admit it, but very much aligned with what Brian said, and now Brian laid out the war, that there was lots of reasons for the United States to to engage militarily with Iran. They've been engaged essentially with us for 47 years. That said, as Allison and I broke down on the last podcast, I think there are lots of questions, valid questions about the nature in which the actions were taken, how briefed Congress was, et cetera. And so I think I'm very much where Brian is. The jury's still out. I don't know. It strikes me that this is a very interesting moment for 2028 Republicans, namely J.D. Vance. This is sort of a time for choosing for the vice president. Is he going to stick with Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly and Candace Owens and that crowd, which seems not to have any real legitimate support, at least not from Republicans, or is he going to break and stick with the president? I think that will be the most fascinating thing.
Well, and I think the difference is, I'm sorry, Javier, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think the difference is there are some people that are looking at this as how does this impact what people think about Donald Trump? And I just don't give an F about that part of it. I care about America, America's interests, America's safety, America's allies. What impact this has on Trump or J.D. Vance or anything like that just really does not factor into to my way of thinking, but I know, and I'm obviously not saying that this is what Mike is saying either, but obviously there are some people who aren't looking towards what's the conservative way of looking at this, what's the moderate Republican way of looking at it. They're looking at it as, well, everything Donald Trump does is good. If you're against what Donald Trump says, then you're bad. And that is not a reasonable way to conduct foreign policy, domestic policy, or frankly, to walk around in any kind of way where you kind of respect your own political leanings.
The director of national intelligence was asked this last week if she had briefed the president that there was an imminent threat, an imminent nuclear threat, and she did not answer. She said the only person who can determine that is the president, which is actually insane. It's literally her job. So we know there is no imminent threat. We know that.
Well, we know Tulsi Gabbard doesn't think there was, who's a very prominent anti-war advocate herself.
She was defending the president's position. She was like that. That's what the point being is that there's absolutely zero evidence that they've even bothered to make. They haven't bothered to make the case for why
I agree on that.
Why it was necessary, why it was necessary now, and now as things are spiraling out of control, and every day there's a different message about with allies, look, we don't need their help. They must help us. Please help us. Don't help us. The Strait of Hormuz we don't care, but we do care. It's all over the place. So there is enough to know. There's enough to know right now. Just what that this is a freaking disaster. Yeah, I mean this is currently spiraling. Iran, it's a matter of time before you said they're going to target tourist destinations. I would not travel internationally right now myself, just because and certainly not to Europe or anywhere near the Mideast, because I don't trust I don't trust that that the current administration is even prepared for anything like that, let alone, finishing this war.
The shifting rationales daily of why they started, and then coming to Congress to ask for $200 billion this week for the conflict is not sitting well.
Well, gas prices.
Yeah, I totally agree that it's the shifting narratives are a legitimate and very serious problem. I do not agree that this is very obviously either spiraling out of control or something that was not ultimately, looking back from history, will not be seen as an unmitigated good for the stability of the world. And also don't agree necessarily that there wasn't I must disagree with Tulsi Gabbard, that there wasn't an imminent threat. I believe Iran was publicly stating they had enough enriched uranium for a nuclear weapon, even despite the action last summer. That said, that doesn't lead me to a place of deep trust that we're getting the information we need as Americans.
No, and the Iranian regime is not weaker. In terms of its control over the population, it is stronger. This started out like supposedly we wanted regime change. Like that's not going to happen.
We never said that. Yes. Israel said that. We never said we wanted a regime change.
No, that's not true. Donald Trump did say that. He then changed. He
says a lot of things.
Well, he's the president. Like what he says matters, and I don't like that fact either, but it's true, and that they have a tighter grip on the population. So
I don't think that is known, or I actually don't know how you would say that. There was a broadcast into Iran, I think it was yesterday, from Netanyahu, basically saying you were free to go out into the streets and celebrate, which a holiday whose name escapes me at this moment in time. Which I don't know why they would say that if they had a belief that the regime was strong enough to murder tens of thousands of its own residents as it did in January. I mean, we'll see. My point is, I don't know that we know that.
We don't know.
But we have intelligence assessments that say that. We have and they are, the regime's not falling apart. It's not.
Well, the proof will be in the pudding. Well, I mean, these are things
we don't know if the Ayatollah Jr. is alive.
Well. Anyway, electorally, which this is a much bigger deal than just electoral politics, but there's a couple of things that people know. They know how much they are paying for food. They know how much they're paying for gas. They know how much they're paying for their tabs on their car. So with gas prices being getting up near $4 here locally and more than that in other places, this is something that people pay attention to, and this is something that drives turnout and will make people pay attention. So this is not something that people in current elective office can just sit and wait and see what happens. So we'll see where this goes. We need to move on to other things, but let's go to plugs. Who's got something?
I do. I'll be hosting The Moth on April 15th at the Amsterdam Bar and Hall in downtown St. Paul. Doors at 6:30. Stories start at 7:30. The topic that night will be sus. So
thought it would have been tax related.
No. You'll have you should come to this one now.
I know I should.
And
you've been very generous with your offers to do that, and the problem has been mine.
Yeah, and then we're both going to be on Almanac tonight.
Yep. So Javier and I are on Almanac tonight with Andy Brem and Carla Bigham. This morning I was on the Al Travis show, which you can find on YouTube, and then also on Sunday I will be on the At Issue with Tom Hauser, me and Jeff Hayden talking about many of these issues. And every Tuesday you can find me and Amy on the BS show with Bob Sansevier. What about y'all?
Nothing here.
Yeah, just a normal person.
Regular people.
Living a normal life.
All right. Do we have any Patreon subscribers?
You sprung that on me.
All right. Well, I mean, it's been on the run sheet for a couple of years, but no, we'll let you do that. Who wants to do Spanks and Things?
I haven't been here for weeks.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Spanks and Things. Who wants to go first?
I can go.
Okay.
So mine is just one, and it's a spank and a thanks. I want to thank Dolores Huerta, the legendary labor leader of and co-founder of the United Farm Workers, who this week, after an expose, the New York Times that showed that Cesar Chavez, the other co-founder of the United Farmer Workers, and a man whose name is on buildings and streets. My neighborhood has a street named after him. There are schools in Minnesota and across the country that are named after him. The New York Times had two women who alleged that he, when they were youngsters, when they were children, groomed them and raped them, and sexually assaulted them. And then Dolores Huerta said, for the first time, she revealed a secret that she'd been keeping, which is that she had been sexually assaulted by Cesar Chavez. And it's just horrific, and I'm proud of her for unburdening herself and finally be able to speak that truth. Like she has been carrying the secret, including that she had children both times as a result of those sexual encounters, those sexual assaults. And also just wanted to point out, and I guess this is on the spank side, that the reaction has universally been one of disgust, and there are active conversations all over the country in places where streets are named, where there are parades. There are parades that are being canceled. That are, and the Minnesota legislature is looking to change the date that is the commemoration, and this is what one does when we learn new information. This is what we do when we realize that someone who we've been venerating was not worthy of veneration. It's simple. It's not a big deal. So the next time people talk about these like debates about statues and about this, how many times have we heard it's like, why do we have to rewrite history? Like, well, we're rewriting history right now. We're rewriting the history of Cesar Chavez, and we should. And we damn well should, and that is just a good thing. So, let's apply the same logic.
Okay, who's next?
I can go next, and thank you, Javier. I have a double thank this week because the horrors persist daily. So it's nice to look at some positive things. So my thank is for MinLedge Deep Dive Instagram account, which is a very popular Instagram and anonymous Instagram account that chronicles moments of humor or kind of outrageousness at the legislature, whether it be in committees or on the floor or just like the MinLedge community at large. And it brings both humor and levity and fun to what can be a very draining and emotionally taxing place to be at the Capitol, particularly this year. So I just want to thank them that this week they had some really good clips and gave us some gems, including St. Patrick's Day. Eric Lucero, who we have discussed, has excellent taste in suits and hats.
He has taste in suits.
And he has suits and hats.
Suits.
And this, to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, he wore his neon green suit and hat, and also took a picture with a neon green truck of Representative, I believe,
Wiesenberg.
Wiesenberg. Thank you, Senator Wiesenberg. Some joked that there's just one senator in this photo. Yep. Nope. Okay.
No.
This is a verbal medium, I understand. But take a look at Min-Ledge Deep Dive. Get a kick out of Senator Lucero's festive suits that he keeps up with. But the account also captured a in-depth conversation with Senator Hoffman as he was chairing the Senate Human Services Committee with Senator Gruenhagen and Senator Abler on do we put corn in our hot dish or not. Senator Gruenhagen actually responded with one of the best things he's ever said, which is, my wife cooks it and I eat it. So spot on. And then Senator Erin May Quaid made a nice, excellent pun about her bill that would require or allow for eggs to be donated to food shelves. So if you're looking for a little bit of humor, a little bit of levity, check it out. My other think, because we are in the throes of session, so I want to keep things focused on the Minnesota legislature. My other think is for the grandparents happy hour provision. Very popular bill this week that's been getting a lot of media, but the House Commerce and Senate Commerce Committee approved an omnibus liquor bill, and it includes a provision that specifically allows nursing homes and assisted living facilities to host happy hours. And if you haven't seen the testifier share her urgency for those in the final chapter of their lives to enjoy a little happy hour, a little boxed wine, I highly recommend it. And it's just one of those weird Minnesota things that we have that are uber restrictive. And it's the legislature coming together to make life a little bit easier and fun, especially for our seniors.
And I would just like to say on behalf of the Minnesota Licensed Beverage Association, as long as they are drinking their own alcohol, then there is no reason not to allow them to do it.
Yes.
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 Michael?
If you couldn't tell by my attire, my internet connection, my physical location, or the fact that I forgot the name of the Persian New Year, Nowruz, I have neither spank nor thank prepared for this week. I would echo Allison's, and I think I'm going to echo one of Brian's that I saw in the run sheet. So I may pivot onto Brian's, but otherwise, I will merely echo others today.
Mike, I'm going to spank your internet provider, whoever that is.
Whoever that is. Unless we represent them, then.
Unless we represent them.
I will not say their name out loud, but we do not represent them.
We do not represent them. Okay, well, so my spank is going to be I'm spanking the death of Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris died.
You're spanking death?
Spanking death. Well, I don't know. Spanking.
So is Chuck Norris.
Yeah,
currently.
Am I spanking? I want to say I'm spanking God for taking Chuck Norris. I'm sure he had a good reason. But Chuck Norris died today at 86. I'm a man of a certain age, so Chuck Norris was actually a very.
You're 86.
Yeah. Well, I guess between me and Chuck Norris, I am now alive and older.
True.
Not. But anyway, Chuck Norris was a very big deal when I was growing up, and his movies were kind of at their heyday then, and it kind of went into the Delta Force movies, and then it went into Walker Texas Ranger, which was actually a show I didn't watch that much when it was on, and then Chuck Norris kind of regained notoriety in the movie Dodgeball when he had a very funny cameo at the very end of it. But then when I was staff in the House of Representatives, there was an internet site called Chuck Norris Facts, and it really was just kind of made up outrageous jokes about Chuck Norris. And one of my favorite ones is that crop circles are just Chuck Norris's way of telling corn to lay the fuck down, and that is one that I always liked. And when the boogeyman goes to sleep every night, he checks his closet for Chuck Norris. There's just millions of them like that. But one of my favorite pranks when I worked for the House of Representatives is there was a friend of ours, Aaron Bowie, who would always leave her computer unattended. So we went on it, Jeremy Estenson and I went on it, and we cloned it so that we could send emails from her account. And every day at a certain time, we would send out the Chuck Norris fact of the day from her computer. And she couldn't figure out who would do it because there was two of us. So we would take turns being in her office when it would go out. So she would say, well, I know it's not McDaniel because he was here when it went out. And it was actually something that I really, really, really enjoyed doing. But so Chuck Norris, R.I.P.
I feel like you just confessed to a crime.
Well, I'm sure the statute of limitations has passed since then. But anyway, so that is my spank. Chuck Norris, you will be missed. My thank. This is just one of those things where I'm just super happy for somebody else. So my friend Tony Chesick, who actually is linked with the MLBA, but his son Jackson was the starting goalie for the Matamidi high school hockey team. And the Matamidi high school hockey team made the state tournament. They won their first game with Jackson in goal, but then they lost the second game. So then in the third place game, they were losing. And they were down 3-1, and it was getting to the end of the game. So Jackson was skating off the ice, so they pulled because they were pulling the goalie when the other team started rushing up, and they were going to take a shot. And then Gabe, I don't know if we have that.
I got it right here. Yep,
got it right here.
Yep, there we go.
So you will see this now. So Jackson is now running back. The guy shoots it, and Jackson dives and makes just one of the best saves that I have ever seen. I'm very proud of Jackson. Very happy.
Super cool play.
Very happy that his that his dad got to see that. This is going to help Jackson with his college recruiting. But a college recruiter said about Jackson, when the game didn't matter, it mattered to him. And I think that is an extremely good message for those who play sports and those who participate in life. Keep going till the whistle blows, and probably every high school hockey tournament now until the end of time, they will show that save over and over and over. And I think it's just very cool that it's somebody that we know. So Jackson Chesick, you are thanked. And with that,
he didn't know this when he was doing that, when he was making that amazing save. But there's now an opening for a new Chuck Norris, so we should pass that along.
Giddy up! All right, and with that, I am a GOP strategist and Twin City Sugar, Brian McDaniel.
I am Democratic strategist and the Puerto Rican Heat, Javier Murillo.
I am Minneapolis cultural correspondent Allison Nessie.
I'm in the 22% that supports the war, Mike Franklin.
And we are wrong about everything. Thanks, everybody.